What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome back to another episode of the Low Life Motherfucking Chopper Podcast.
TGIF, you frickin' pickle sniffers.
We're back with another fucking episode. We finally got the Christmas episode out of the way, the fucking year recap out of the way. Actually, a lot of people hit me up and was like, yo, the year-end recap was dope.
Yeah. People were like, dude, that was, that got them in the feels. Because, at the end of the year, you're kind of bummed, like I was at the beginning of the show when we started recording it. I was kind of like, oh, another year done. I always get kind of bummed.
Yeah.
But then you look back on it and you're like, oh, that was actually a lot of cool stuff happened,
Yeah.
Gets you excited for the next year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one. I'm glad to be back on regular episodes, though. This month, the fucking month of January, your boys are putting together a building a chopper 101. The only motherfucking chopper building 101 you need to listen to or fucking watch. You hear me? All right? We're going to get in depth. Not only the bullshit of, oh, I bought a bike. Now, what parts can I take off? No, bitch. We're not doing that. We're starting from just a fucking motor. And then buying a trans. And then finding the frame and the wheels on the front end. We're going from bare minimum. In case you're a guy that doesn't just have $4,500 laying around to buy a whole shovel head. Maybe you want to piece it together. This is going to be a step by step on how to make that fucking happen. This will be probably 4 episodes, but we'll break them down so they make sense. But before we get into that, let's take care of the fucking housekeeping. Then we'll get into this bomb-ass episode. Housekeeping?
Housekeeping, you want mint for pillow? We got some big news for housekeeping.
Big news.
We're coming out the gate hot in 2024. So, number one, we're going to be putting together the only suite of Choppering 101 guidelines that you need to follow to go from just a milquetoast bike builder or have aspirations of building a chopper to an absolute chopper fucking god. You're going to be...
They will shout your name in the streets after these episodes.
Yeah.
They will build statues.
Yeah. They're going to be kissing your Thorogoods, bud. But before that, we wanted to go into 2024 with a big W. And
big W.
I was talking last week
W
about our own website. Now, this is something that we bought the domain for. I've been fucking with it for a long time. I'm borderline retarded. I guess I'm like me and Forrest Gump are like neck and neck. So anyways, I've been like trying my damnedest to cobble together this fucking website for a while, but we finally have it. I'm going to bring it up here. lowlifechopperpodcast.com.
Lamb.
Everything is here. So we're not going to be like, oh, well, you can email us here and you can go to our LinkedIn, or you can just go to lowlifechopperpodcast.com. Has everything there. It has all the links to the YouTube, to the fucking Patreon, to our shop, to our Instagram. We're going to be putting pictures up on this bitch as they come available. When we go to shows and shit, we'll upload them here. We have our fucking episodes. Nobody can take them. Nobody can take them down from here. We're going to be putting all the episodes up here. You can watch them right from your browser. We have some other shit. It's kind of under construction at the moment, but it's up. And I'm one of those dudes that I'm just like, if I don't just do it and you try to make it perfect, it just doesn't get done. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm like, just get it out there. It's pretty, it's got everything you need. If you aren't on Instagram, if you're not on fucking YouTube, you're just listening to this show from fucking some weird podcasting app that nobody's ever heard of. Just go to lowlifechopperpodcast.com. And it has everything you need right there. And we're going to continue building it and making it cool. So if you go there and you see something fucked up, go ahead and tell me so I can fix it. And if there's something you want to see, let me know what you want us to add. You know, like, again, I'm not a web design dude. So I just wanted to get all our shit in one spot so we don't have to call out a bunch of fucking random shit. We can just go lowlifechopperpodcast.com. That's legit as fuck. And that's ours. So nobody can take it down. Except maybe the feds.
Yeah, they could definitely take it down.
They could take it down.
I don't think they will, though. They like us.
Yeah. So, lowlifechopperpodcast.com for all your Low Life Chopper podcast needs. Next up, housekeeping. Bump Shop Diaries.
Chicka
Rodney,
wow wow.
the freaking wizard of the reels. We're still running that special. If you buy a camp mug from our store, which you can get to on lowlifechopperpodcast.com, go buy a camp mug, or we even have a ceramic mug. If you get any mug, I'm going to send you a code for $5 off Black Coffee Congregation, whole bean or ground, fresh roasted to order. This is some serious Java, boys. If you bought a camp mug and you haven't received a discount code, let me know, because I thought I got everybody last week, but let me know. Those should be out in the mail. Last bit of housekeeping. They're so heavy. Oxford Choppers. OxfordCo.choppers on Instagram. This is the January giveaway. These are so cool. And by the way, I figured out how he does them. So he plug welds them, so they're super clean. So this Z right here, it stops. You can run wires and shit and internal things, and they're all plug welded on the front. Look at that. Fucking clean bean machine, bro.
Oh,
That's going to be our January That's our January sponsor at the end of January. If you're a giveaway level supporter on Patreon, you will be entered to win. So you can sign up this month and get in to win those bars for $10. That's like entering a raffle, bud.
It's a good fucking deal.
Dude, these things are so nice. I don't want to give them away. I don't want to give them away.
Do you have anything else?
Nope.
I got one. The Easy Co in La Espada winter swap meet is this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 576 Primrose Street, Haverhill, Mass. $5 entry. If you need any more information, hit up F6T9W. That's the La Espada guys on Instagram. And we'll see you there. Your boy's got a table. We'll be vending. Fat Man Custom Motors is vending. You'll see all the usual suspects there, I'm sure. I'm sure Dan from Nola Paintworks, Fish Tank, Trad Dad, Astro Man, all those dudes will fucking be there. Easy Co will be there. So if you love that YouTube channel, run up to them with Easy Co painted on your belly. Yeah, get an autograph. Buy some of their fucking parts. Whatever you want to do. Either way, it's going to be a good time. Even if you don't need parts, come fucking hang out. Support the cause. Support La Spada. Support your boys. Support Easy Co. Get the fuck out of your house. Don't be a fucking weirdo and stay in your goddamn house. All right? Come be social with other non-social people, okay?
Yeah, you think I like getting out of my house? Think I like going and schmoozing?
You think Rhino likes having to snowblow his way to his car to leave his house? Jesus, this guy drives in from Canada. You have no excuse. Anyways, with that being said, we'll see you motherfuckers this Saturday in Haverhill, Mass at the La Spada and Easy Co. swap meet. With that being said, we're done with this motherfucking housekeeping. Time to jump into this motherfucking episode. I haven't yelled into the mic in a while, I feel like, so
I
You
wasn't
gotta get people
expecting it.
hyped up, dude. It's fucking Friday.
It's
It's
fucking
fucking
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, and there's a fucking swap meet tomorrow. I'm pumped about that, man. I
Yeah, I'm
love me a
pumped.
good swap meet.
I'm hoping there's hot dogs.
Oh, there'll be hot dogs.
That's all I'm saying. Hoping there's hot dogs.
Yeah, we got to get on that. We got to get our own hot dog steamer just in case we ever go somewhere
I
that's not hot
know,
dogs. We can
dude.
pull that shit out.
There was a hot dog steamer on Facebook Marketplace. I frantically messaged them, and it was already pending.
No shit.
It was already
Was it
pending.
was it just like the little box one, the little
Dude, it
window,
was like the
so you
ones
could
you
see
see in
them
like the
sweaty
gas
dogs?
stations, where like
Yeah,
half of
yeah.
it is for like the hot dogs, half it's for the fucking
Half
rolls.
from buns. Ooh.
Oh my
You're
god,
gonna love
bro!
a steam roll, bro.
I need that in my fucking shop. Right, I can just be
Yeah.
eating fucking hot diggity dogs right now as I'm doing this
Dude, I'd eat
episode.
so many hot dogs though.
I need black coffee and hot dogs for an episode, right? Fucking sick of this shit.
Dude, yeah, we gotta get.
Sounds like a Limp Bizkit album.
How much? How much was it on Marketplace?
It was like $50. You can buy them on Amazon for $100.
But was it like a good like metal one? Like a
Oh yeah, it
decent
was
one?
like the
Yeah,
legit
yeah,
one,
legit
like
one.
fucking like stainless.
Yeah, because you see them on like Amazon and they're like plastic, and you're like, that's not gonna. You need like the old timey one with the stainless steel and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what this was. It was like
Fuck
stainless
yeah.
with like the red letters on it and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic, bud.
You could tell there's been some red snappers cooked in that motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude. Yeah.
I've been dreaming of making a hot dog stand that we pull behind the motorcycle.
Yeah.
To like shows.
Yeah, dude. A hot dog
Maybe we
cart?
start the low life hot dog cart. Maybe that's the next venture for this podcast.
Yeah, the low life glizzy fucking hot dog, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, I'd
Put our
sling some
meat in your
hot dogs.
mouth. Dude, I would fucking quit my job right now, park that bitch at Home Depot, and just sell sausages and hot dogs.
Dude, I was seriously investigating being a hot dog guy. Like back when in my early 20s, I was like, well, I'm not going to college, but I could go to college campuses and mac on bitches and fucking sling some meat, you know?
Yeah. Dude, here's the fucked up thing is you were thinking about that in your early 20s. I'm thinking about that when I'm 36. I'm like, if I could just find a food cart, I could quit my job.
Oh, dude. Hot dogs too, man. The steamed hot dogs, they're so much better. When you go anywhere and get a hot dog and they grill it or they fucking, you know, it's just like, it's not the same. Don't make it a hot dog fancy.
Yeah.
Just get that shit wet, steam the fuck out of it, and you can just throat those things like one after the other. You need condiments.
Oh, so
it's mad cheap. It's mad cheap to get into a hot dog business. Hot dogs are cheap, buns are cheap, condiments are cheap.
Yeah. You got to have the chili dogs with onions and shit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm about that.
Might have to take a second mortgage on your house to afford all that chili, though. But we should definitely at least get one. But here's the thing: if you go to a show, sometimes you can't plug it in,
right?
So we'll have to run a generator, like a gas.
We need
generator.
A propane steamer.
Oh yeah, I wonder if they have propane ones. They must have shit like that.
They got to, because that's what they use on those hot dog carts. There ain't no way they're fucking pulling a goddamn generator around. Nobody want to stand in your line.
That's exactly why they have the cart, to have the propane tank in there.
Yeah.
And you don't need a whole lot of propane to run that fucking cart.
Right.
Oh shit.
All right, anyways.
We promised people we're going to talk about motorcycles.
Yeah. Anyways, we're talking about fucking building a chopper today. Dude, we just went down the deepest fucking dive of hot dogs. Yikes. We have to stop doing this show at dinner time. All right, listen. I promise that's it for food this episode. Like I said in the beginning of the show, this is going to be a chopper building 101 fucking what do you call it when there's multiple of them?
Mini-series.
We're going to start from the very bottom. We're going to start as if you didn't have the money to go buy an entire shovel head or an entire fucking Sportster or whatever you're trying to fucking buy, right? We're going to start with just finding a motor. First step is figuring out which motor is right for you. Which motor do you want to build? What platform are you trying to build on? Are you trying to stay lower? Listen when I say lower, not low. Lower budget and build a sporty, an Evo sporty, I should say. And Ironhead's not going to be low budget. I promise you that. Um, an Evo sporty, like lower budget. The transmission comes attached to the motor. It's cheaper. You can
Yep.
buy an Evo motor for probably a couple $100. An Evo Sportster motor, probably $300 or $400, if we're being real here. Or do you want to go the shovel route? You can usually pick up a shovel motor for like $2,000. Or even get fucking lower than that and just buy the bottom end and buy your own cylinders and swap meet heads. You got to figure out what's going to work best for you. Or maybe you're the guy that has just been saving up and you got $4,500 to spend on a whole fucking roller. If you're that guy, you just have to wait until we get a little further into the episode for it to make sense for you. But we're going to start at finding the fucking motor. Where to look. Okay, so you can look places like swap meets. Probably not going to find a whole motor. I don't see a whole bunch of motors for sale at swap meets. Usually that's going to be the route if you're going to try to piece something together. You can probably find a lower end. If the guy's not a dick, probably for $500, $600. Right? That seems fair. $500, $600 for a bottom end.
For a bottom end for for a
A
shovel head.
shovel. Probably somewhere around there. Then you'd have to find obviously cylinders and heads and all that bullshit.
That's the long way around. I mean,
That's the
it's really
long
tough.
way.
Yeah, that's like
I don't suggest that with a shovel. If you're gonna try building a pan or something like
a
that,
pan.
maybe
You
go
pretty
that
much
route.
need to. Yeah,
Because a pan, you're gonna be spending a lot more money.
yeah,
But a shovel is just, I feel like, save up and just at least get the money for the motor. Piecing it together is gonna suck.
yeah, yeah. Well, with shovel heads, the transmission is going to cost as much as the motor. You
Right.
know, you're looking at 1,500 for. I mean, if you're lucky, 1,500 for a decent ratchet top,
Yeah.
and then 15 2,000 for like a motor.
Yeah.
Like that's complete,
Yeah.
But I mean, it depends on what your budget is. Like if you're like dead set and you're like, I want a shovel head, but you're broke, piece it together. Do what you love. That's the number one thing. Is like, do not buy an XS650 unless you want to buy an XS650.
Right.
Because if you're not stoked on it, you lose steam really quick.
Fast.
Yeah. So get something like I would say just like you cannot go wrong with like an Evo 5-speed. That's like
Yeah.
you can get them relatively cheap. They're pretty. I mean, you don't have to worry about fucking 40 years of abuse and shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably going to be pretty solid starting point. But if you're like, no, I need to have that shovel. I guess it depends on where you're at in your evolution too. Because when you first start, like I started out, I had no money. I had to have and no knowledge. I had to have a running bike to start with. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have, so Harleys were out of the question at that point. I was like, I have $500 and I need either a CB 750 or an XS 650 if that's your
Yep.
budget. And you need something running. Like, so it's skill level and budget. If you have a lot of knowledge, you can get into piecing together a shovel head right away. You know what I mean? Even if you don't have a lot of money. So you just have to figure out where you are on that spectrum. Like, do you have no knowledge and no money? You're looking at Japanese bikes. If you have, like some mechanical aptitude and no money, you can probably get into a Harley like relatively cheaply.
Yeah.
So,
Other place to look for it, Facebook Marketplace is going to be a great fucking spot. Motors are on there all the time. Another great spot is Instagram. People will be raffling these motherfuckers off nonstop. You can check Yeah, chopper swapper. Motors are always on there. The only problem with doing something like that is 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be local. So you're buying it
Yep.
on a whim. You're buying it hoping that what this guy's telling you is correct, um, which isn't really a huge deal, as long as you get it for a good deal. And the way I look at it is if you're buying a motor and you haven't seen it run and you can't personally go look at it, automatically set your fucking offer for that motor to it needs to be rebuilt,
Right.
because chances are it needs to be rebuilt. Um, which again isn't a big fucking deal. We're gonna get into that. But that's one way to go. Marketplace, I'm saying, is your best bet. Marketplace and local swap meets, because you're
Yeah.
gonna be able to go there, look at the fucking motor, which is key because it can
And
save
you
you a
gotta
lot
you
of
gotta
fucking
watch out,
headaches.
like, dude, like Chopper Swapper's pretty good, and they do have an app out. I think it's like a paid app now, but dude, Instagram is lousy with fucking scammers.
Bad.
If you have, if you're a parts page and you follow me and I haven't followed you back, it's because there's just so many scam accounts out there. I don't trust them. You know what I mean? And I'm the type of guy that I look at stuff and it's like, oh, I'm getting a deal. And those scammers said it just so, so it's just a little bit lower. And I don't want to shit on like everybody, because there's dudes out there, legit dudes selling parts on Instagram. But at this point, it's like you kind of need to know someone that knows that person. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yep.
there's just so many fucking scammers out there. Imagine getting burnt for fucking $1,500 for a, you know what I mean? Like, that would kill me.
Be
I don't have it
devastating.
like that. Oh yeah, dude. You send someone $1,500 for a ratchet top and they don't send it to you.
Yeah.
It's just not worth the risk for me. So
Yep.
for me, it's like local people, like on fucking Facebook Marketplace, the best, the absolute hand down best place to get motor parts are from your friends,
Yeah. And here's another
people
way
you
to go
know.
too. Pending how you want to go about it, a lot of these companies that sell motors also have an affirm option where you can literally take a fucking payment out on a motor. Do you want to go that route? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's not for everybody. I probably wouldn't. Maybe for a motor for my car, yeah. But I don't think I would for a bike, because I would just buy one and rebuild it myself. Um,
I've been looking seriously at that lowbrow customs knucklehead though.
yeah,
That's the only thing I would, if I won the lottery, if like I hit on a scratcher or something, I'd
yeah.
probably do that.
I mean, you could affirm it for probably like $300 a month or something.
Yeah. Yeah, not in the cards right now, but
Just an affirm a knucklehead.
dude, it's like,
um,
oh, that'd
but
be
that's an
beautiful.
option if you want to go that route. Um, but I think marketplace and swap meet's going to be your best bet. If you're already in the chopper community, just ask around. Chances are somebody knows somebody that has a fucking shovel head for sale. But figure out where the fuck you're gonna buy it. It's not that hard to find one. If you want one, you'll find it. Um, next thing. This is why I say marketplace is gonna be your best bet, or swap meets or something like that, because you want to look at the goddamn motor. Now, I know you go and look at all these other fucking videos where it says chopper building 101 or blah blah, and they're like, check the compression. Well, here's the thing: is you're not gonna really be able to check the compression if it's only a motor, unless you bring a fucking crazy ass fucking impact gun that's gonna spin that fucking motor over. It's not gonna happen. Um, Chances are you're not gonna check the compression. But if you go and look at it, you can do a couple things that will give you some peace of mind. First off, you can pull the fucking plugs. And by pulling the plugs, it's going to tell you how that bike was running last time it was fucking running. Um, and usually people leave the plugs in there because they don't want just open cylinders for shit to be getting in there while it's sitting inside of their garage. So usually you can pull those
Right.
plugs out, check those out. A spark plug will tell you a lot about how a motor was running, how it was treated. You know what I mean? Um, Another thing, and who knows, maybe some people aren't going to let you do this, but it's worth fucking asking. You can pull the fucking heads off real quick. It's a very quick job when the motor's already out of the bike. And by pulling the heads off, now you can check everything you need to look at. You can look at the valves, see how those are looking. You can look at the pistons, see what those look like. See if there's a bunch of fucking what's it called?
Carbon.
Carbon buildup on top of the pistons. You can see inside the cylinders, which will tell you how the wrist pins are and all of that. You can tell everything you need to know about that motor except for the bottom end by just simply popping the heads off. Um,
I mean, and you can actually see a lot, even just popping those plugs. Because like when I got my shovel head, the guy was like, "Yeah, it was just rebuilt. You know, it's never run." I popped the plug
yeah,
out, shined it in there, and you can see the piston doesn't have anything on it. It's like,
right.
and you can see the size of the pistons and shit too.
And if it was rebuilt and they're saying it's fully rebuilt, then you're going to see new cross hatching in the cylinders. And you can see
Yeah.
that through the fucking spark plug hole.
Yep.
So there's all kinds of things you can do to check. Um, Obviously, if you're going to go buy a bike, a roller, yeah, check the compression. It's easy, but still, like, check the plugs. The plugs are going to tell you a lot of fucking shit. If you don't know how to read spark plugs, there's 100 different fucking pictures on Google. Just type in how to read a spark plug, and you can literally print out a fucking paper that shows you every different discoloration of a spark plug, and it'll tell you exactly what it's doing. If it's not enough fuel, if it's too much fuel, if the motor ran too hot, it'll tell you everything.
You need
Um,
that knowledge anyways for anything. If you're running a snowblower
yeah,
or your car, you know,
yeah,
like you just need to know.
yes. Um, so yeah, if you're buying a whole bike, you can do the compression check, check the plugs. Then you don't even have to rip the heads off. Um, but we're talking if you're starting from the bottom and buying a motor, I highly recommend pulling the plugs. If there's no plugs, that sucks. You really don't have any history of the motor at that point. But like Rhino said, look down inside the spark plug hole. See what the top of those pistons look like. See if you can see cross hatching on the fucking cylinder walls. See if you see any fucking grooves in there from where the wrist pins are worn out and it's just fucking sloppy inside. If their
Yeah.
piston rings are worn out.
You know, I would say even like just baseline. So if you're buying a bike that runs, like if you're buying a shovel head, like a whole thing that you're going to strip down and chop, that's one thing. But if you're buying a motor, if you're buying it piecemeal, I would say just plan on doing a top end anyways. Because it's already out of the bike.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh,
like,
100%.
why wouldn't you? You know what I
100%.
mean? It's cheap money just for, you don't want to build a whole bike around this fucking motor and then find out that it has fucking problems. You already have it out,
Yeah.
plop it out on the
Yeah.
bench, put some wood blocks on it, and then a top end is really easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually had that on the list at the very end. Because it just makes sense. If you're buying just the motor, even if you're doing a whole build, it just makes sense to the top end. Like Rhino said, even if you don't have a lot of mechanical ability, like you haven't done a bunch, you could do a top end with this book and less than $100 in tools. It's not that fucking hard. Um, so highly recommend it. That's why we're doing this, right? This whole mini series right here is to not to teach you how to do it. Because there's a lot of other people that are so much smarter than me and Rhino. This is more of to show you the steps to show you that you could do it yourself. Um, so anyway, so you're gonna look inside the motor somehow, whether it's through the spark plug holes or if the guy lets you pull the fucking heads off, which is a plus in my opinion. If the guy doesn't want you to pull the heads off, probably something wrong with the fucking motor or the guy's a dickhead. But if you go there with cash in your hand, don't be a piece of shit. Go there with cash in your hand and be like, hey, I got the cash right here. I just want to pop off. Even if you pop off one head, pop off the rear cylinder. That's usually the one that gets fucked up. Um, pop off that rear cylinder. Just check it out. Check and see what the cylinder looks like. Check and see what the valves look like. And if everything checks out and it looks good, there's no crazy scoring inside the cylinders, the valves look like they're good, not all beat to shit, then give them the fucking money and be on your way. So once you get that figured out, okay, we got the motor. Now you have to figure out what transmission you're going to get. And I'm just basing this off a shovel right now. If you're going to go the Sportster route, it comes with a transmission. And if it doesn't, you bought the wrong fucking motor. But it's going to come with the transmission you want. Highly recommend going 5-speed. It's just easier to get parts. There's less shit that goes wrong.
Everybody that has a 4-speed,
I'm talking
only
5-speed
going to a 5-speed
Evo
anyways.
Sportster, by the way.
Yeah.
5-speed Evo Sportster.
Yeah.
If you're going shovel, now you have to figure out which transmission you want. And here's the thing is, there are 3 main transmissions that you can choose from. And they all vary in price. So first one and probably most common on a shovel is your cow pie transmission. This is what you normally see on a shovel build. These you're looking at between $500 and $700, right? Would you agree with that? 5 to 7.
You're lucky if you get it for 5. I'd say yeah. I mean, 7 seems more appropriate. They're less desirable.
Yeah.
But those transmission
right.
prices are not coming down.
Right. So this is a 4-speed cow pie transmission. You're looking at 5 on the very low end for a great deal. 700 about average. Now you have 2 other options. You can do a 5-speed Evo transmission that comes out of the Evos. It's a 5-speed. More people are starting to use this transmission now because they want the 5-speed. These I've seen anywhere from $300 to $600. I know that's like that's a big fucking gap. But that's usually what I see them at. Usually around $500 I've seen them. I'm saying just like your regular stock 5-speed Evo transmission. I'm not talking about a Baker. I'm not talking about anything like that. This is the stock Evo fucking transmission. You could probably scoop one up between $300 to $600.
I sold mine for $65.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. You can get them
swap
cheap
me because I was sick of fucking.
And nobody's trying. Usually, nobody's buying them because they usually don't blow up on the Evo. So nobody's buying an extra Evo fucking transmission. And I don't remember what it was. There was some shit that had to be changed. I remember when Fat Man did this. There was something that had to be changed. I forget what the fuck it was. But if anybody decides to go that route, either reach out to Fat Man or reach out to me and I'll talk to him, whatever the fuck you want to do. I've never done it, so I don't know what the fuck it was, but I remember he had to change something.
I remember that too.
And then last, you have the ratchet top. This is the most expensive. It's the most desired. That's a 4-speed, and with that, you're looking at 9 if you get super fucking lucky.
Yeah.
But I've seen them go as high as 1,500.
I've seen 2,500, dude, on those fucking things.
That's
rebuilt.
Fucking mind blowing. When I first started doing this, 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, you could get them for $700.
That seems
now.
correct.
I would say right now a good deal on the market right now is $1,000.
Oh yeah,
that's like
I'd buy that.
That's a good deal. $1,000 to $1,200 is a good deal. So those are the 3 transmissions you can choose from if you're doing the shovel. You can do the 5-speed Evo tranny, you can do the cow pie tranny, the ratchet top tranny, or obviously you can go crazy and buy a Baker and put a 6-speed in your fucking shovel for some fucking reason. But those are the 3 most common ones that you're going to look for. So you have to figure out which one you want to go with, what your price range is going to be. So like Ryan was saying before, depending on which fucking shit you go with, if you're going to buy a whole shovel motor, let's say you got it for $2,000, got a good deal on it. And then you're going to go with a cow pie tranny, you're looking at $2,500 for a motor and transmission. If you go the ratchet top way, you're looking at $3,500 probably. So now you're getting up to
Cheaper
almost,
if you buy them both together though. Like they'll
yeah, oh yeah,
sell you
if
the
you buy them together,
drivetrain.
for
Yeah,
sure. But if you're piecing it together, you're looking at probably $3,500 for a motor and tranny. And at that point, if you would have just waited a little bit, saved another $500, you probably could have bought a whole shovel head.
true.
So this is where it starts to get like which directions you want to go. Because at the end of the day, if you're gonna go a shovel motor, you just want to buy the motor, fully put together, rebuilt motor, $2,500 probably, and then you are dead set on running the ratchet top. Now you're already at $4,000. And at that point, you could have had an entire bike plus been able to sell all the takeoff shit for probably $1,500. So that's where this whole thing comes in. Is this like a long-term game plan? Where like I'm gonna get the motor, rebuild that, and then maybe 6 months now buy a tranny, and then I'll start looking for a frame. Um, or do you want to just wait a little bit, save up the fucking dough, and then buy the whole bike? So that's where like all this, you got to really stop and like think about it and make the right decision, because you don't want to put all that, get the motor, get the tranny, all that right in a row, and end up spending more than you would have spent just on buying a fucking shovel in the first place.
Yeah, it's probably best to get like a decent. If you're going the shovel route, like and you're chopping it, like you can get a pretty good deal. Like I've seen like under $3,000 for the motor tranny
Yeah.
frame rolling, but you're missing a lot of stuff. That's what I did. I got mine
Yeah.
for $2,000, and it had nothing. It didn't have the belt, didn't have like the clutch. It was just drivetrain basically. But that's all you really need to start a chopper. You know what I mean? So that's the way I went. But like Loctite was saying, you bought a shovel head that was running, and you could
Yeah.
sell all the stuff off of it and then
Yeah.
recoup some of that money. So it kind of evens out in the end, I guess.
Yeah.
I think you probably made out on that because those shovel head takeoff parts are very desirable with a lot of
Especially if
money.
you get the wide glide. If you get the wide glide, it comes with a lot of desirable parts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it comes with the dual disc wide glide front end. That alone, $400 to $500. You know what I mean? Um, the split tanks, the fender. You like literally take everything off it and sell it. I even sold the clutch, the fucking
Oh
clutch.
shit!
I sold everything, dude. Um, so there's that. And that's what I always try to tell people is like, if you can squeeze together $4,000, even if somebody's asking 5K, chances are you can go there and slap 4K down and leave with that bike. Um, and here's the best thing about it is now you have all that takeoff shit that you're gonna be able to fucking sell, and it will sell. I've done it twice now. Stripped out a shovel head and made $1,500 to $2,000 back. So yeah, I had to fork over. I think I got a really good deal on this one though. I think I only paid 35 for this one running or adding.
That's
Um,
insane.
but say you got to fork over that $4,000. Once you strip the bike down, you have you're going to recoup $1,500 to $2,000 back of that money.
Yeah,
So like you're really that's the fucking way to go, in my opinion. It just
yeah.
makes sense to go that way.
If you have the money, now,
Right.
and that's the thing is like there's some dudes that they don't have shovel money, and they probably never will. And I would say that
Right.
you can definitely get into the sporty build for
Super cheap.
half the price of a shovel head.
You can get all in on a running riding Sportster for fucking $2,000.
Yeah,
Easy.
yeah. So it's like basically
I
it's
just seen Josh
XS
from Steel
650
City.
Sportster, and
I just
then
seen
shovel
Josh
head.
from Steel City post a fucking Sportster for $1,500.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like you can get a deal like that and then buy a $500 hardtail
hmm
and a fucking $120 tank and $100 fender and $100 oil bag and have a chopper.
oh yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's like that's what I'm saying in the beginning of this is like take the time and figure out what the right motor is for you.
and I would say like buyer beware. Don't buy those $1,000 shovel iron heads. Don't buy the $1,000 iron head. It's not gonna cost you $1,000.
No.
I've owned like
Especially
3 iron heads.
if you're new, especially if you're new to building or even
Yeah.
just working on bikes, period, an iron head's gonna give you trouble. Unless you're really good friends with Chopper Bob and he's gonna help you. Ironhead's gonna give you a tough time.
Yeah, I would just avoid them completely. They're so enticing because they're $1,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even just like even hardtailed, you can find hardtail ironhead $1,000. There's a
Yep.
reason why they're $1,000 though. It ain't worth the fucking. It ain't worth the smoke. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I highly recommend taking the time. Don't just dive into it because you're gonna either one, pick the wrong fucking bike that you do not want, or two, get in way over your head financially and not ever be able to finish the build. That's why just
Yeah.
be honest with yourself. You want a chopper, you want it to be a fucking Harley. Do you have shovel money? Or do you have Evo Sporty money? As simple as that. Figure out which one makes sense for you and then start moving in that direction.
Yeah.
So once you figured all that shit out, you figured out the transmission, the motor, etc., etc. Now you have to figure out where you're gonna build this thing. Do you have a shop? Is it nice enough weather where you can build outside? Does your buddy have a shop? You're gonna build it in your basement. You're gonna rent a Connex box like I did. You got to figure out a spot where you can start that build and where you can finish that build. Because I've been in the spot of starting my build and then having to move, and then having to move, and then having to move. I went through 4 different garages on the stepchild build, 5 garages on the stepchild build, and it's a fucking pain in the ass. Um, Figure out where you're gonna build, have a spot locked down, even if it's in your fucking driveway. Figure out where you're gonna build the bike. Make sure you have a spot where you can put all of your parts. That way, you're not fucking losing shit or losing little clutch springs or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Well, you need a
It's
spot for the bike, you need a spot for your tools, and you need a spot for the parts.
Yes,
And if you just have one workbench, it's all on that workbench.
right. Which is a pain in the fucking
Yeah.
ass.
And that's where I started was I had it was probably like maybe 8x8 little square, and I had one wooden workbench, and I just had bike was on the floor, and you're just like kind of scooting around it, and then everything on this just a pile of shit.
Yeah, yeah. So figure out where you're gonna build it. Next thing, do you have the tools to do this whole build? You're gonna need the essential shit. You're gonna need a socket set. You're gonna need a ratchet and a couple different ratchets. You're gonna need some boxed end wrenches for sure. You're gonna need those. You're gonna need some Allen wrenches. Um, Depending on what you're building, you're gonna need Torx bits, and you're also going to need a torque wrench. With those though, with those things and some adjustables, um, with those things, you can build this motorcycle. You can build a fucking chopper, baby. All right. Once you start getting in depth, you're gonna have to buy some other things. But to get started, that will get you started. That'll get you inside the motor.
Yeah.
That'll get your
Don't buy any specialty tools until you need them.
right.
You know what I mean?
That's the
Because
way to do it. Don't just go buy a bunch of
yeah,
shit that people tell you need.
when you
Start
crack
building, and once you figure out, oh, I need this, buy it.
like when you crack open that service manual, the first few pages are like you're going to need this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
But you don't need any of that unless you're actually touching that thing. Like
Right.
clutch compressor or whatever. Like the first thing I did was go to Harbor Freight, buy yourself like a mechanic's tool set. You
Yeah.
have pretty much everything you need there because you got screwdrivers, you got fucking hexes, and then buy stuff as you need it. Like run down to your local hardware store if you need a certain Torx bit or something.
Yeah.
Don't go and get things that you don't need.
Right.
That
And I'll
happens
say
over time.
this. I don't care what anybody tells you. You do not listen to what I'm fucking saying. You do not need to spend hundreds of fucking dollars on fucking sockets or on wrenches or on ratchets if you were not building and doing mechanical things for a living. You are a fucking idiot for buying Snap-on or buying Mac tools because you're never getting repaid for them. You want to know why Fat Man has 3 fucking full rolling chest toolboxes full of Snap-on? Because he makes thousands of dollars a week with them. That's why Fat Man buys those fucking tools. All right? So when you go spend that much money on tools, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
Listen for the guy that's in the mic. You're dumb. You're dumb, bud.
dude,
And
especially
listen,
hand tools.
I was a mechanic for a living. I've been wrenching since I was 15 years old. All right? I'm talking 15 is when I was like building things. I've been playing with wrenches since I was a baby. I'm here to tell you you're dumb. When I was a mechanic in a fucking shop, did I have Mac tools and Snap-on tools? 100% sure did, bud. That's why I got some in my box right now. But since I started doing this, as this is my hobby, your boy ain't seen Snap-on since. I'll tell you that.
Actually, I own
Because
one Snap-on
I'm
stubby
not
wrench.
I'm not wasting the money. Snap-on makes sense when you're a mechanic, when you're gonna recoup that money. Does Snap-on shit work better? Yeah. Do their wrenches fit the bolt better? Yeah. Do their screwdrivers work better? Sure do, bud. But guess what? Craftsman works fine. Harbor Freight works fine. For what you're going to do, you can use all that shit. All right? And listen, this is coming from a guy. I'm not just some fucking asshole that has like minimal fucking experience working on shit and like, oh, I'm a chopper guy. No, bitch. I've been doing this literally my entire life. My whole life I've been a wrench. And I'm here to tell you, if you're not making money with your fucking tools, don't buy Snap-on. It's dumb. Go to Harbor Freight. They have a lot of nice shit. Here's the thing with Harbor Freight. They have like 3 tiers of tools.
Yeah.
They have like Pittsburgh, junk. They'll still work, but that's like bottom of the fucking barrel. And guess what? You could still build an entire fucking chopper with Pittsburgh tools. I'm here to tell you.
I do.
Okay? Then, I don't know. Pittsburgh is their middle line, right? I think there's something.
I don't look at any other lines. I know they have
There's something.
Icon.
Yeah, they have something,
Pittsburgh.
and then it's Pittsburgh, and then Icon. I think
There's
Pittsburgh's
something
middle of the road.
There's something below
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
I'm pretty sure there is, because the Pittsburgh Jack's like the most expensive in the whole fucking place. But I think Pittsburgh's like middle of the road, and then Icon is like equivalent to Snap-on. It says lifetime warranty.
Guaranteed. Yeah.
I've never used any Icon shit. It looks really nice.
They have gold.
I've touched their wrenches. Their wrenches are nice.
Shit. Yeah.
But I'm just here to tell you, you do not have to buy that expensive fucking tooling, and nor should you. It does not make sense. If you're not wrenching every day for a living, it does not make sense.
The only thing I would say though is if you do buy Snap-on, buy it used on eBay, because if you're paying a dude off a truck to get it or whatever, or order it online, like the only Snap-on item I have is a 3/8 stubby ratchet, and because I use it for everything, because you don't need like a big ratchet. You can get in everywhere, and it works fucking awesome. But it's 30 years old. I bought it on eBay and I rebuilt it. You know what I mean? So don't spend a bunch of money, because the tools are only as good as the operator. You know what I mean? I could use Snap-on, but it's not going to make me any better. I use Harbor Freight because I'm a cheapskate.
Right. And this is what I'm telling you is I've come from both sides of this. I was literally a paid mechanic forever. Working on brand new cars, used cars, building hot rods, building motorcycles. I've done it all. It's dumb for you to spend that much money on tools, because you're not going to put it through the same wear and tear as somebody who's doing it 80 hours a week. It does not make sense for you to buy those tools. You can build half of my tool stuff is Craftsman stuff now, because I don't wrench for a living anymore. I'm not spending $300 on a socket set. I've built 4 motorcycles now with Craftsman tools.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say
and
about
never
that
run into
too
a problem.
is dude, motorcycles are little boy shit. You know what I mean? Like there ain't
Yeah.
like when you're working on cars that have like rusted undercarriages and like fuck, like those things take a fucking beating. But your motorcycle, like most of the stuff is pretty well kept. Most people keep their motorcycles inside. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not like a car
I
that's
just
sitting
hate
out
when
in New England.
people I just hate when people buy Snap on shit and think that they're buying the best shit doesn't make you the best. I'm here to tell you that. I'm here to tell you that. And not saying that because I don't have Snap. I have Snap on shit. I just don't you don't fucking need it unless you're doing it for a living. It just doesn't make sense. The only thing that you should be spending good money on is your fucking torque wrench. Your torque wrench is what matters because you're going inside the motor. And here's what I'll say. I'm not a big torque guy. The only thing I torque is interior motor shit. If it's inside the motor, it's get in touch with a torque wrench. And it's going to be a good torque wrench because I've been the guy. I've built motors that have blown up. They go kapow. And the damage on the inside of a motor when a rocker arm falls off or a valve lets go is catastrophic. It's fucking not good, bud. Um, so for me,
What are you
I'm
looking
if
at?
it's
I guess what would you recommend for a torque? So I'm a Harbor Freight torque wrench guy at the moment.
yeah.
But what would you
Um,
recommend for a torque wrench? Because they run, I mean, they
I
get up there
think
quick.
I think mine. Hold on one second.
And those Harbor Freight ones are kind of junk. Like one of them that I used, I definitely didn't work, and I definitely stripped a bolt. Very important one.
I forget what. I think mine's Tecton. Oh, fuck, I can't remember.
Is it like a digital one or analog? Like the barrel goes
So I have
around
one
the
of each.
yeah.
I have one of each. I think one is a Tecton, maybe, and then I think the other one's off the Mack truck. It's a Mack torque wrench.
Yeah.
But I recommend if you're gonna spend any money, spend it on your torque wrench because that
Yeah.
is.
Agreed.
And I'm not saying I've never used the Harbor Freight one, so I'm not saying those ones aren't right. And you could easily check them.
Yeah, you can
Um,
test them.
um, but just spend the money on a good torque wrench. All that other money, if you spend $300 or $200 on a set of sockets, you're dumb because you could have bought a whole ass toolkit for $200 of
Yeah.
Craftsman. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And not saying I'm a big fucking Craftsman advocate. I'm saying that's just what I've started to use now. But Harbor Freight, you could fucking buy 3 toolkits for fucking $300 at Harbor Freight. It just doesn't make sense for what you're doing. If you're not doing it every single day, making money with it 80 hours a week, do not spend that much money on your tools.
And don't even buy a torque wrench unless you're doing motor work. Because for the rest of the motorcycle, you don't really need a torque wrench for anything. Is there anything else that requires a torque
Yeah,
wrench if you're not doing motor work?
I mean, there's stuff on the outside of the bike, but I don't fucking, like,
Yeah,
technically, you're
torque
supposed to
it.
torque your wheels on. You're
Yeah,
supposed to torque everything on a motorcycle. I don't do
yeah,
any
but
of that, dude.
I
I
don't. No,
torque motor shit, and that's it.
yeah.
Everything else is fucking
So
like
you
a
probably
dibby
just borrow it from a friend that's a fucking mechanic that has like a
Right,
nice torque wrench.
right. That's what I'm saying. It's like you could get by with all this shit.
Yeah,
Um, but that's the biggest thing I can tell you is don't go broke trying to buy all these fucking tools because it's not necessary. It's not. Um, as far as its specialty tools, like Ryan was saying before, the first thing that I recommend doing is if you're ripping that whole motor and trans out anyways, or you just bought a motor, um, do a fucking top end. It's gonna do 2 things for you. It's gonna give you peace of mind because you know the top end's good now, and now you know how to do a top end. It is so easy. Buy a climber or buy a fucking Harley factory manual like fucking Rhino has, and you can do a top end by yourself easy. It's literally step by step in this fucking book. It tells you everything. what to gap the rings at, what the torque's supposed to be on the heads and the cylinders. It tells you fucking everything. And it's not much money. And it makes you feel good about yourself. Once you build the fucking top end of your bike, you're like, I can do anything on this fucking bitch. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
well,
So
it gets you to a point where you understand how things work, and then when things go wrong, you're like, oh, that doesn't sound right, or like you can diagnose stuff. So
yeah.
I recommend doing a
And
top end
listen,
just
I'll be the
for
first
the
one to admit.
knowledge. I mean, like, what are you in this for?
I'll be the first one to admit. I grew up working on cars. I grew up building fast fucking motors, 600 horsepower fucking motors in drag racing cars. And when I first got into building my own bikes, I was petrified to open the motor up because I just never did it. I've never been on the inside of a fucking motorcycle motor before. And in the back of my head, it's all the same. Suck, bang, blow. All motors work the same. It's just how they fucking, you know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal. And thankfully, I started working at Fat Man's shop up in Melrose. And he just like was like, don't be a bitch. Here you go. And I just jumped right into it. And dude, it is fucking titties. It's
Mhm.
titties. Is there some shit you're gonna run into that you probably have to call a friend? Yeah. But guess what? That's the great thing about having friends. You know what I mean? Somebody's gonna know how to do it. And if not, there's a whole bunch of motherfuckers on YouTube that do, or there's a bunch of motherfuckers that pretend to. Either way, you're gonna fucking figure it out. So it just do it. Do the top end. It's fairly cheap. Getting a set of piston rings is cheap. Getting the gasket set is cheap. Chances are you don't have to touch anything inside the heads. There's a good
No.
chance. You know, unless they were beat the fuck. Um, but it just makes sense to do it. Give yourself that peace of mind. Get a fucking ball hone. In and out of those fucking goddamn cylinders. Put some nice cross hatching in there, and tell your friends you're a fucking machinist now. I mean,
Yeah,
build motors for a living.
while you have that thing apart, you might as well clean it up. Send me those heads. Send me those fucking rockers. I'll vapor hone them up, and then they'll be fresh gaskets, fresh everything,
Yeah,
baby. And then it's like a brand new motor at that point.
yeah. The only thing you got to worry about is the bottom end, and it's like if the
Don't
motor's
even worry
taken care
about
of,
it.
that's probably fine too, bud.
Yeah,
Um,
if the bottom end's fucked up, just put it on Facebook Marketplace again. Throw it in a frame and be like Ranwin parts.
bottom end's not even that bad. It's not even that bad. If you're gonna pull the bottom end apart, fucking who cares, dude? Buy some new fucking, buy a new flywheel, buy a new bearing, fucking see you later, bye. Done. Um, it's not that big of a deal, is what I'm here to tell you. Um, but figure out what you want to do. Figure out how in depth you're trying to get. Figure out if you're just trying to buy a running shovel head and you want to strip it down and build a chopper. Or if you're like, fuck it, I'm going all in, I'm going to rebuild the motor, then I'll find the fucking frame and et cetera, et cetera. But just figure that out before you get into it because you don't want to start with just buying a motor and then it just forever just be a motor because you get in way over your head financially. That's the biggest part to try to figure out. Um, Once you figure that out, though, just take your time. Like I said, buy a good manual, buy a climber, buy a fucking Harley factory magazine. I mean, yeah, magazine, Harley factory fucking
Service manual.
service manual, and start talking to your buddies. Chances are your buddies have already done this, um,
Oh, actually, you
and
don't
that
even have to
makes it.
buy a manual, dude, because they have them on websites. And like when I'm working,
Yeah,
I bought the manual. It sits on the shelf because when I'm working on my bike, I just have it bookmarked and I just pull it up and it's a digital copy and you have your phone. I mean, it's
I gotta have the
free.
book. I gotta have the book.
I have both,
I've
but
tried the digital thing and it just drives me nuts. And I'm just not good at digital shit, which
you
is
can
why
print it out too.
if you've noticed since Rhino came on, this podcast has gone into the You know what I mean? Got very
The
digital.
20th century.
We have video now. We have a web page. We have fucking emails. Um, I'm just not good at that shit. This old book, like I was telling Rhino, um, before we started here, when you get a climber, dude, or like any manual, the longer you have it, the cooler it gets. Like when it starts, like all the corners are bending, and like you start getting like the greasy thumbprints inside, and you got the folded pages to last time you rebuilt the transmission or last time you fucking redid the clutch or the top end. It just gets cooler, man. I fucking love them.
I write
Um,
mine, dude. I
oh, I
highlight
write
shit.
mine
I
too.
write in the notes.
I haven't
Like,
highlighted anything, but I've written shit in there. Like if I found like whatever the fuck, I'll write it like on the side. But there's been so many times where after, because I bought this when I did my last shovel build, um, and I used it a bunch when I was doing the transmission. Um, but after I finished that build, I would just be chilling in the shop, and I didn't have anything going on. I didn't have any builds going on or anything like that. And like I always say on here, I have the TV as just background noise, and I would just be sitting in my fucking chair, my computer chair, just reading the manual.
oh yeah.
Not even like looking anything up, just like going through the
No.
manual, and I'm like, oh, here's the fucking rocker arm cover cylinder head section, and just read this whole fucking thing about the rocker arms and the fucking cylinder heads, just for the fucking hell of it. Go through the whole fucking compression thing,
Oh yeah.
just for the fucking hell of it. It's a
Yeah.
cool fucking thing to just like read when you don't have anything else to do.
When I first got mine, I legitimately brought it into my bed and it was like reading it at night. Just because you want to
Yeah,
know, you want to know how everything works, and you reread it 1,000 times. Like when you do the timing or whatever, you read it 1,000 times. And the thing is, too, it's like you have to decipher a lot too, because those manuals, they're for a range of different bikes. You know what I mean? Like for a range of years.
yeah,
So like some of it, there's a lot of like, oh, well, it works this way for this range of years and this way for this range of years. So there's a lot of, I mean, I do a ton of research before I do anything. You know what I mean? Because I'm stupid. I'm Forrest Gump, bud. And I have to like point at the words while I read them. You know what I mean?
oh, I'm the
Uh,
same way.
oh yeah, dude. And then I'm like, oh, what did I just read? I have to go back. I can't read books and shit. But uh, you just kind of peruse the whole thing, read the whole thing all the way through, so you kind of have an idea of everything. And then once you're doing stuff, yeah, just have the book open, have your phone open. You got the YouTube too, so if you're not clear on something in the book, you can always go to YouTube and be like, who's doing this on this specific model bike too. I mean, you could put in like 1978 fucking shovelhead or whatever, and then someone did a video of something. It might be a shitty video,
Right.
or it might be like something that just like opens it up, like, oh, nobody explained that part before.
Right. And here's the thing too: is like once you fall in love with doing this, when you love tinkering with shit, when you love building shit, um, reading the manual, dude, is not like a chore. I like
Yeah.
I love to just sit and fucking read this manual. And I've already done this twice now. I've more than twice. I'm saying I've already built that twice. I've already worked on hundreds of fucking shovel heads. Um, but it's just the knowledge of something that I'm interested in. I like it. I love to just flip through that fucking thing. Um, and it makes you better at what you love to fucking do. So it just makes sense. Get a fucking manual. If you talk to
Yeah,
any old head, especially Chopper Bob, he won't even help you if you don't have a manual.
true. But that's the
So
thing that you touched on there, is like the more you know, the funner it gets too. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like when you don't, the first time you do something, like the first time I did like a fork rebuild or whatever, I struggled through it. That was a big deal. Now I can do it blindfolded.
yeah,
Like same thing with the transmission. I rebuilt that transmission on a shovel head like 3 different times. And now I'm confident about it. And if something goes wrong, it's like, oh, if I'm on the side of the road, I know how to work on it.
yeah,
I know everything about that thing. And then it gets fun. That's when it gets fun. If you're scared and you don't know how to do stuff, like, then it's not fun. You're just scared. So just dive into it, start
yeah.
ripping shit apart. You can definitely put it together. Like there's people like my whole thing was it's like, dude, old school Harley mechanics, they weren't like fucking Einstein. You know what I mean? Like
No.
these things aren't difficult for your average person to like understand.
Yeah.
It's just about doing it. So
See what I
that's the
always do
most important
too.
thing.
A thing that I did when I was just like when I first started doing like fucking with shovels and shit. Um, a thing I would do because like, and that's another reason why I just read this book nonstop is I can read shit and just not comprehend any of it. I'm fucking legit retarded.
Same.
Um, I'm like the kind of guy where like I just have to touch it. That's why like when I buy shit, I
Yeah.
buy it in person. I can't just order something. I gotta fucking touch it. So learning how to like work on these older bikes, I just had to fucking do it.
Yeah.
And a thing that worked for me is as I took it apart, I would lay it out like an explosion diagram.
Yep. Yeah.
And I would lay it out. And now that it's all apart, I can see it right there, laid out like an explosion diagram. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And now it's just in my head forever. Forever it's in my head now. And there's sometimes
Yeah.
like where I'll be like, I'll lay out this explosion diagram, boom, snap a picture of it, and now it's in my phone forever. Um,
That's a great point too, because when you look at an exploded diagram in a book, there's a bunch of dotted lines and stuff, and you
right.
read, you're kind of like, what the fuck? But yeah, take a carburetor apart. There's like 1,000 parts. But when you lay it out in front of you and you took it apart, you're like, oh, that's connected to that, to that, to that. You know, same thing with a motor. You take it apart, and it's so much. It That's the thing is like you have two retards here talking about Chopper 101. You need to actually put your hands in it and take it apart for you to be able to understand it. You know, like you can't just
Yeah.
read books. Some people's minds are wired that way. I'm definitely not. I have to do it. Otherwise it does not make
Right.
sense.
Yep. Yep. I'm the same way. And so like, for instance, I have not done a bottom end yet. I've read about it in this book. I've read about all that shit, but I have personally not done it yet. In my head, I don't know how to do it. I have no idea how to do it. But I've read it 100 fucking times. I can tell you how to do it, but I don't know how to do it. You know what I mean? It's fucked, dude. Until I actually put my fucking hands on it and do it, in my head, I don't know how to do it. I can know every single step because I read it, but I cannot comprehend how to do it until I actually do it with my fucking hands.
Yeah.
It's fucked, dude. But like once I get in there, everything that I've read will pop into my head. Oh yeah, I remember this and this has to go here. And you know what I mean? But before that, all that's gone that I read.
Mhm.
It's crazy. That what I'm trying to say here is the best way to fucking do it is to just do it and take the picture. Start an album in your phone in like your gallery thing of that build and just take fuck
Yeah.
tons of pictures. It's the easiest fucking way to do it. Um, and the biggest thing is just reach out and fucking talk to people. If you show interest, people will fucking help you. Like if you're showing them that you want to fucking learn, they'll help you. I have personally given anybody that's ever fucking texted me or hit me up on Instagram, hey man, I'm fucking stuck on this. What do you think? I'm like, here's my cell phone number. Call me. And I'll sit on the phone with somebody that I've never met before in my fucking life. But because they asked questions that made sense to me, that they're actually trying to get answers to and not just wasting my fucking time, I'll sit on the phone with them for an hour and help them through it. You know what I mean? Even if I don't know it well enough, I'll sit on the phone with them with my climber in my fucking lap and walk through it with them because they showed interest in like they actually want to fucking learn and they're not just looking for the answer.
We should do a hotline on our website.
That'd be sick.
Call us if you
800
need to, you know.
number.
Well, I people hit us up all the time for like, you know, this and that. I don't know everything. You know, I try to like, oh, well, that kind of sounds like that. You know, I'll work with you. I'm not like an expert by any means, but I've come across a thing or two in my day. But that'd be cool if we should get a Low Life Chopper podcast hotline.
Yeah.
If you're serious and you need some
You could
help
like, you can leave a message.
between the two of us. I mean, because
Yeah.
there's definitely things that like you know that I don't know. And sometimes when I'm reading the messages on Instagram, I'm like, this is a Loctite question. I'm going to send it over to him. This is a 4-speed Evo. That's a Loctite
Yeah, that's Loctite supply.
thing.
But the whole point of this is, if you want to build a bike, there is so many different ways into it that there is no excuse for you not to. Right? You can go the 4-speed Evo route. You can go the 5-speed Evo route. You can go the big twin Evo route. You can go the shovel head route. All of them is all different prices. You can go from buying the whole bike to just buying the motor and making a long-term 3-year project or a 4-year project. That's fine. If you want to do that and that's the only way it makes sense financially for you, do it. Who cares if it's going to take you 4 years to build a shovel head? This whole like persona that came around choppers where you got to build a new bike every year, fucking stupid. Stop doing that.
Who can afford
I
to do
fell
that?
victim to that shit, dude. Stop doing it. It's fucking dumb. Take your time, enjoy the fucking process of it,
Yeah.
have fun, meet new people through the fucking process of it.
Ride a different
And
bike while you're building it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
who cares
Just
how
have a
long
stock
it takes you?
Sportster and then talk about your
If
fucking
if you
chopper.
cannot afford to just dump 45, right. If you cannot afford to dump $4,500 on a shovel, which a lot of guys can't. I usually
Yeah.
could not. You know what I mean? My first shovel, I traded my fucking hot rod for.
Yeah.
My second shovel, I sold my hot rod and bought that one. You know what I mean? There's a whole. I've never just had $4,500 laying around. I'm just not that
Same.
guy.
Yep.
And I heard the saying once. It's a blue collar saying. It's if you want nice shit, figure out how to build nice shit. Because you're just not gonna have it as a blue collar dude usually. Um, and that's what I fucking have done my whole life. So that's what I'm trying to. That's the message we're trying to put out here through this next fucking mini series that we're gonna be doing. Is it doesn't matter where you fall on this spectrum. If you're buying the whole bike, you can only afford to fucking buy the lower end, or you can only afford to buy the motor. There's a way for you to do this. It's just gonna either take you longer or shorter. That's it.
Yeah, this is really geared toward, like people that are maybe getting into their first build, or like maybe they don't have that, because I was in the same spot, like where I'm like, I don't know anybody, I don't know what I'm doing. And you're like, I don't want to ruin this thing, like, but it's like at the end of the day, you want to ride a chopper? There's going to be blood, sweat, and tears, baby. It's going to be fucking hard to do. And that's what makes it so cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like anybody could, if you have money, just go ahead, fliff night, go buy a nice dyno, put some fucking nice shit, pay someone to paint it. But choppers are different. It's like, that's the whole experience.
Yeah.
You have shitty tools. You're always broke. You're
The
scrounging
heartache
for
brings the
everything.
joy.
Yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Like you struggle through the whole thing. And then at the end of the day, you have a chopper that's a fucking death trap, but you made it. So this is
Yeah.
like an inspiring thing where it's like, yes, you can do it. I know you can do it because I did it. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not special in any way. And but it's about the passion and the love and shit. Like you have to dedicate hundreds of hours. You're gonna have to scrounge for money. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's gonna be times when you can't just buy parts. You're gonna have to fabricate them. You're gonna have to invest in tooling and shit. But it's going to be worth it in the end because there's no better community. There's nothing more fun. Like that's the end goal is like
Yeah.
when you're going down the road on your chopper and you're going to a cool show or you're with your fucking buddy that built his chopper. It's like,
And
that's the goal.
even if you're not brand new to building, say you already have a build, you know what I mean? You're already in the chopper community, but now you've built that first bike, and like the stepchild, I built that first bike. You can see my struggles in that build. You can see that I didn't know how to do some shit in that build. But now on your next one, now you really get to challenge yourself. Make yourself outdo your last shit. Do more than you did on that last one. You know what I mean? And that's like what I did on that last shovel I built. Push yourself further. Do more. Get into the motor. Fab more parts this time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, you're not doing that on your first build because you don't know how to. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's fine. Get through that first build. Without getting through that first build, you don't get better until you start doing it. That's just what it is. Nobody built their first bike and it was a fucking showstopper. It's just not how it fucking works. You get better and build cooler shit, build more one-off shit, build shit nobody's ever seen before by experience, by logging those hours in the garage. And not because you have to, not because you have to get this chopper done so you can finally be a part of the fucking community. It's because you want to be in the shop. You love being in the shop. You love building. You love pushing yourself and fucking building a part, throwing it in the trash just to start over again because you didn't like how it turned out. That's what it's about. Um, and what we're trying to fucking tell you here is you can do that. Whether you've built one chopper or you haven't built any choppers, you can always push yourself to do better, to build cooler shit. You know what I mean? And that to me is what it's about. If you're not growing off every build, then you're not taking it serious enough. And not saying you got to take choppers serious, but as a hobby, you always want to be better. Just like when you were skateboarding, you didn't just stop practicing when you fucking learned how to ollie. You know what I mean? You always pushed yourself. You wanted to do that tray flip. You wanted to, you know what I mean? You wanted to fucking feeble grind. You want to do everything. It's the same way when it comes to building choppers. Push yourself out of your comfort zone and build cooler fucking shit.
It's really the whole culture is about getting outside your comfort zone. You know, like everybody that I know that's in the choppers, like nobody has any money. Nobody likes like socializing. Like we're a bunch of fucking weirdos. You know what I mean? Like we're into
Super weird.
yeah. You're just hanging around with, but it's about like building up your skill set, testing your own metal. You know what I mean? I don't even understand. Like I hear a lot about like, oh, these posers in the chopper scene. Where the fuck are they? You know what I mean? Like, dude, when I go to shows, it's
Yeah.
like fucking legit dude after legit dude. Dudes that like, cause you can't fake it. You can't fake hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars and fucking like all the things that go into building your own
Well,
bike.
if you just
You know what I
buy a
mean?
chopper, you can.
Yeah, you can just build. Yeah, if you just buy a chopper, but then everybody already automatically knows. You know what I
Which
mean?
is
Like,
fine too, because like EasyCo has to stay in business. You know what I mean? Like somebody's got to fucking.
hey, if you're into choppers, that's cool too. Like, you're not a poser if you buy a chopper and ride it. Like, but that's the whole thing. It's like it's all about the riding and the going to it being involved in the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't care if you bought your chopper. Buy your fucking
No.
chopper. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But don't act like you built it. That's what makes me mad.
Yeah. Don't
Don't
act
act
like
like it.
that. But don't do that for anything. Not even just choppers. Like, don't take credit for stuff that you didn't do. You know what I mean? That's just a rule of life.
Yeah,
But again, it's like I know like I can count on one hand how many of those dudes are around. You know what I mean? And they
yeah.
don't stay around because
But building choppers is for me, and I know we're getting way off topic here. Or are we? I don't even know.
I don't
Building
know.
choppers to me, dude, is like you're doing fucking manly shit. And I'm not saying girls can't build choppers. There's a bunch of girls that build choppers, but you're doing shit like humans were intended to fucking do. Humans weren't fucking designed to work and then come home and sit on the fucking sofa and watch TV for the next 8 hours before you go to bed.
Yeah.
We're designed to fucking do shit, create shit. You know what I mean? And when you build a bike and you go through the heartache of learning and struggling and getting pissed off when you can't find what you're fucking looking for in the climber fucking manual. But once you get all that done and you ride your shitty fucking creation to a show with a bunch of other fucking degenerates that also built shitty cool stuff, it's a fucking party because you all have something in common. You're all fucking going back into your roots of fucking not being a worthless son of a bitch and doing something. Humans need to push themselves. That's why so many people have fucking anxiety and depression and all this because we came from fucking running through the fucking forest with fucking loincloths and killing animals for our food and building our own houses to fucking getting stuck in this same fucking whirlwind of bullshit of waking up, going to work, paying bills, and going back to fucking bed. That's why everybody's so fucking depressed.
That's why
You
everybody's so
gotta get out and
soft.
do shit. You gotta get out and do shit. You gotta
Yeah.
fucking keep your mind moving. You gotta challenge yourself.
Yeah, burn your
And
hand, get blood blisters. You know, we're a couple
yeah,
generations away from smashing a dude in the face with a fucking mace. You know what I mean? Like, you need an
yeah.
outlet for that shit. You need to get a little bit wild. You need to blow off some fucking steam. Choppers is the best.
Choppers is the best. Creating shit, that's always been a thing for me. Is like I've
Yeah.
always needed to create shit. Everything I've ever done, being a mechanic, building houses, doing hardscapes. You know what I mean? Like everything is always creating something. I need to constantly be exercising my mind. Because if I don't, I go fucking crazy.
Yep.
And what we're trying to say here is no matter where you are financially, this is an outlet. It just depends on how you get into it. Whether you start with just a motor or you buy an entire fucking bike, there's a way into this community. There's a way into building your own bike. It's just everybody starts somewhere different.
Yep.
And what we're saying is all you got to do is fucking start.
Yeah, it's going to be worth it in the end too, you know. You just get so
It's
much
so
back.
worth it. It's so worth it.
You're a
It
better
kind of,
man,
listen,
dude.
I'm
You're
not
a
going to
better
lie to
man
you.
at the end of the day, you know?
It
Like
kind of
once you do that
sucks in the
shit.
beginning. Kind of sucks.
Oh, it
It's
sucks
fucking
being alone.
aggravating. Like
Yeah.
when you don't know how to do things, it's aggravating. When
Yeah.
you can't figure out why your welds are just all porosity, it's fucking aggravating. You know what I mean? When you can't get a bolt off the fucking motor or it snaps, it's so aggravating. But here's the thing is every time you hit one of these roadblocks, you eventually figure it out. You have to. You don't have a choice. There's not just, oh, fuck it, I'm done with this forever now. You
Can't
got to
get
figure it
that
out.
bolt off. I
Yeah,
gotta sell this.
you got to figure it out. One way or another, you have to figure out what
Because you
that
got too
fucking
much
issue is.
invested in it already, you
And
know?
here's the beautiful part about it. Here's the best thing about getting fucking stuck on something. And I know at the time it fucking sucks and it boils your blood and it makes you want to fucking throw a wrench through your wall. But here's the best part about getting stuck is you have to figure it out. And guess what? Once you figure it out, you can never get stuck on it again. You can't. It's impossible.
Feels
Because now
so
you've
good to figure
learned.
stuff out too on your own.
Now you've learned. It's fucking wild, dude. That's why for anybody that's ever even just like remotely thought about it or remotely thought about you got through your first build and you're like, God damn, motherfuck, that sucked. And now you don't know if you want to fucking take on a second one. Do it. Just fucking do it. The best thing that I've learned is the first two bikes I built, the Stepchild and then the Shovelhead. Both of them were on a fucking time crunch. The Stepchild was on time crunch because I didn't have a fucking chopper. I was riding a fucking a V-Star 1100 the first time.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was like, I need to chop this fucking sporty, but I cannot go without a motorcycle. I found a V-Star 1100 for $1,200.
Mm-hmm.
Bought that bike and rode that. And then I was like, I fucking hate this thing after one season. Traded it for a fucking hardtailed, wide tire Sportster built to the fucking hills, but it was a lot more fun to ride than the V-Star was. And rode that until I finished the fucking Stepchild. But I was like, I hate both these bikes, so I gotta finish the fucking Stepchild. Finished the Stepchild. 3 months later, got accepted into the Greasy Dozen. Started the Greasy Dozen shovel build. That was on a time crunch.
This is actually
Hated
something
it.
this is something I was thinking of too, because so you had the Stepchild, you had, what do you always call the shoveler the shovelhead, but it was the white trash, right?
White trash.
So you name your bikes. I think there's
Yeah,
like two
100%.
camps of people. There's people that
Yeah.
name their bikes and don't name their bikes. I don't name my bikes.
Really?
I feel, yeah, I don't name them. I don't. Have you
Well,
ever?
with me, it's because I come from the car scene originally,
Yeah.
and it's just tradition to name your car. It's always a girl's name.
Is that so? Do you name your bike before you start building it?
No, it usually gets just like comes with it.
Yeah.
Like not like when I buy the fucking thing. But it usually just like gets its name somehow.
Okay.
And like the Stepchild, that one had that name when I started the build because I've owned that bike forever. It's been in my family since I was a fucking toddler.
Mm-hmm.
But that one was the Stepchild because so the reasoning for it is you're forced to love it and it's fun to beat on. Now the reason I'm forced to love it is because it was my dad's first bike and he gave it to me as my first bike. So I'm forced to love that bike. I'm forced to have it for the rest of my life. Without against my fucking decisions, I'm now fucking attached to that thing, just like if it was a stepchild. It's fun to beat like a stepchild because it's a fucking Sportster. So you see what I'm saying? How that name like
Yeah.
all makes sense. That's how that name
I've
came to
never
be.
named a bike. I don't know
And
what.
then
Does
the
everybody name
white
their bikes?
trash. I don't think so.
Yeah, some people are
I don't
just
know
like,
though.
oh, that's the black
That's a
bike or
shove. Yeah,
the red bike.
yeah. And white trash just came to be um, because I'm a fucking chopper guy, and I just wanted to build the swing arm bike as like a throw it in your fucking face, because this is at the era of the podcast where people are like, Loctite's a piece of shit. He just hates anybody that doesn't have a chopper, and he hates swing arms. Blah 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 blah. So this is like an in your face, loud fucking fuck you against fucking, you know what I mean? And white trash at that time was like the pinnacle of fucking white privilege, like in the news and fucking all this shit. And I was like, what fucking edgier name is there than white trash for a swing arm build that people say that I fucking hate and that I couldn't build one and blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? So that was just like a whole on edge, in your face, fuck you type thing. So that's how that one got that name. And this bike right here already has its name. This one is called Snail Trail. And the reason that this one's called Snail Trail is because it actually comes from like a joke from way back in the day about one of my buddies who had a strip club, and the stripper, she rubbed her pussy on his face and like left like fucking shit on his face. That's where Snail Trail comes from. But the reason why I associate it with this bike is because it's getting a pearl white. It's getting a pearl white paint job. So I just associate that with like women, you know what I mean? Pretty. It's gonna be sexy. And then the other part of Snail Trail is because it's taking me so long. This is a build that I said from the beginning, I'm not rushing this build. I'm taking my time and I just want to have fun on it, really push myself to the next fucking level. So that's why this one's called Snail Trail.
Shit on his face? Was it shit or what was the shit on his face?
No, like pussy juice.
That you could see on his face?
It was like wet.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which strip club was this?
They're closed now. It was Mac Two's and Bill Ricca.
Oh, Bill Ricca.
Yeah.
They got some rough strippers there. Jesus
Dude,
Christ.
she was crazy. She would like grab you by the head and slam it in her chest and like break your fucking nose. And then she backed up and like just, dude, I'm not even kidding, dropped her pussy right on his face and dragged it all the way up, dude. And he just had like pussy juice on his nose.
Yeah. You want to go to the
said she left a snail trail on him.
Scummiest towns. You want to go to those strip bars. Yeah, Snail Trail.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me shut this phone.
Are you friends with her on Facebook?
Before we continue. No, I don't know who this bitch was.
That's gross.
73 degrees in my shop right now. I'm sweating my fucking balls off.
Holy shit. How long you had that thing going?
What time is it? 8:30. I started it. Hold on. How long have we been recording? An hour and a half. So it's been going for like 2 hours.
No shit.
Two
It's
and a
pretty
half
fucking
hours.
cold out too. So
Yeah, it was 31 degrees in here when I came in here. But anyways. Yeah, not everybody names their bike. If you do, cool. If you don't, who gives a fuck? But more of this fucking episode, like I'm saying, is no matter where you are in life, financially, if you have a whole ass garage or you have your fucking bedroom, a build is possible for you. No matter where you fall on the spectrum of ability or experience, a build is on your fucking horizon. You can do it if you want to do it. Anybody can do it if they want to do it. I've seen guys come in with absolute zero mechanical ability, They've never worked on fucking cars before or anything in their life and build fucking choppers.
Mm.
It doesn't matter where you come from, what background, what your parents did for work, what you do for work. It does not fucking matter. It doesn't,
Yeah.
listen, I'll even tell you this. It doesn't matter if you've never ridden a skateboard. A lot of people would say different, but it doesn't matter. Anybody can fucking do it, no matter what your fucking budget is. There is a way into it.
Yeah. And I'll say it too, is like, you know, if you're new to it and you're having trouble, hit us up. If you're fucking local, dude, you can use my shit. I'll help you out. You know what I mean? If you're in the New England area and you need help with something, I'll fucking help you out with something. You know what I mean? If you need to weld something or you need a tool or whatever, hit me up. If you just have questions, I'll do my best to answer. And if it's about a 4-speed Evo, I'm going to send you over to Loctite. But I mean, we've done, I mean, have you built anything besides Harleys though? Chopped.
Not for myself, but
Yeah.
I've worked on all that. Yeah. Cause
Yeah. So I have
so
like a
most
little bit
of
of
that,
knowledge, but
most of that shit has come from working at Fat Man's shop with him.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
worked with
So
him in
really
Melrose and then in
any
my shop.
platform. I mean, it basically CB. If you got some weird shit, like I'm probably not going to help you out. I'm not going to be able to help you out. But like I did, you know, like I know a little bit about CB, a little bit about XS, and then Sportster, shovelhead shit.
Yeah.
But we're definitely pushing people toward the Sportster shovelhead stuff.
Yeah, I'm mostly a Harley guy. There's not much I'll be able to tell you about any of the Japanese stuff because I just don't have that much experience in it. If
Yeah.
I'm in a shop and somebody comes in with this, like, hey, this is what it's doing, chances are I can figure it out. But to get super in depth like I can with any Harley platform,
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I just don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Troubleshooting though, I can definitely help you troubleshoot because, like I said before, all motors are the fucking same. Suck, bang, blow. Some of them are different. Some have time and chain. Some of them don't. Um, but it's all the main fucking way a motor works is the same on every fucking motor. So troubleshooting them is not that hard.
Did we cover everything we wanted to in this first episode?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I just wanted to make sure, one, we drove it home that no matter what budget you're looking at, you can start a build. Even if you don't have the money to just buy the motor. Like I said, you can go the route of just buying the lower end and then pick up some cylinders and heads. It's going to take you longer. It's going to cost the same amount of money in the end, but it's how much money you have to put down to start it. But it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can start a fucking build. It just, however much money you can put down in the beginning determines how long it's going to take you to finish it. That's it. And the other thing I want to make sure everybody knows, take the time, figure out which motor is going to work best for you. And a lot of that goes towards the budget, right? You can't build a shovel head with Evo fucking Sportster money. It's just not going to happen. And that's okay. It's fine to have an Evo Sportster. I have one. Rhino has one. Fucking almost everybody I know has one.
Yeah.
I love my Evo Sportster.
You should definitely have at least one.
I love it. That thing is so much fucking fun to ride.
Oh, yeah.
So don't think that that's a downfall. If that's what you have and that's what you can afford, fucking do it. And then just to take the time, make a fucking game plan. Figure out where you're going to build this thing. Figure out where you're going to get the tools. Make sure you budget that tool spending, and don't fucking overspend on tools. It's unnecessary. You don't need to do that. Buy what you need, not what people tell you need. It's not how it fucking works. Buy what you need. And then last but not least, getting into the fucking motor. Don't be afraid. Get into it. Take your time. Take lots of fucking pictures. Buy a climber. Do your research. Reach out to buddies. Once you get to all that, you figure out which transmission you're doing. You get that motor rebuilt. Then we would jump into figuring out what you're doing for a frame, whether it's a hardtail or you're going to buy a whole fucking frame, whether it's Paco or you buy like a frame at a fucking swap meet, then figure out front end wheels, all that stuff, which we'll cover on the next fucking episode. then we'll get into some fab stuff on how to make your own brackets. And again, this isn't a fucking, I don't want to call this a how-to episode. This is just more of walking you through the steps. And it helps to hear it, even if you've already done it and you're just starting another fucking build. It helps because it helps you remember, oh, fuck, I don't want to forget that step. You know what I mean? Or it gives you a different outlook on, maybe you've already done it, but hearing me talk about how I do it gives you a different idea. Or hearing how Rhino does it gives you a different idea. Because everybody's going to do it differently.
Yeah.
So I don't want this to go out as the Low Life Chopper podcast is going to teach you how to build a chopper. That's not it. What we're teaching you is that you can learn how to build a chopper. Here's how we do it. Here's how our minds makes it make sense. Now you have to take the knowledge that we give you and make it make sense for yourself.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I disagree, you've done it and you do it a different way or whatever, let us know. We'll fucking throw that shit up. This is
We'll
like
fucking do an episode
thing.
with it.
Yeah.
You can tell us.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Let us know. We want to hear all sides. Like, for me, the biggest hurdle getting started was no confidence. Didn't know how to do stuff. Didn't have the tooling. Didn't have the money. And those are just like little hurdles you have to pass. That's just part of the process,
Yep. 100%. But with that, and listen, if you guys are listening to this week's series and you're like, hey, before you move on too fast, what about this? Make sure you drop a line before next week. And we'll just include that into the next episode. So if you think we forgot something on this episode, or something that you're maybe wondering, if you're like, hey, well, if I just go buy a motor, what should this look like? Or what that, you know what I mean? If you have questions like that, feel free to hit us up and we'll recap that real quick in the beginning of next week's episode. And if you have any knowledge, you're listening to this and say you've been through the ringer a couple times, you have any knowledge like, hey, I remember when I was doing this was a bitch, but I figured out how to, if you do it this way, it makes it easier. And you want us to throw that tip in to when we get to that part of the segment, write in, let us know. We'll make sure we give you the credit for it. We're not about to take information from you and just put it out here so we can make it look like we know what the fuck we're talking about. Because at the end of the day, I'm a fucking has-been mechanic. Rhino does fucking literally everything. Everything. This guy fucking has done movies with Spielberg and fucking all kinds of shit. Who the fuck are we? You know what I mean?
Fluffer.
We're two assholes. We're two assholes feeling our way through a fucking podcast and just trying to help people get into building bikes because we love doing it. It's opened up different avenues to us. Has helped us do things that we probably would have never fucking done. Has gotten us to meet people that we would have never met in a million fucking years if we weren't involved into this culture. That's what these episodes are about. It's not to teach you how to do it. It's not to fucking provoke anybody to do it. It's that, hey, there's a fucking reward for that risk.
Yeah.
And with that being said, let me take a couple minutes real quick to thank the sponsors that have made this Ramble Fest fucking possible today. Up first. My fucking jaw hurts, bro. I feel like I just sucked 10 dicks. Anyways.
Or 5 really thick ones.
Thick ones. Like
girthy.
Up first.
Gherkins.
We got, who have I not gone first in a while? Stay Strong Co., the fucking creator of the best motherfucking hot sauce on earth. I love this fucking hot sauce. I'm actually getting ready to eat some as soon as we're done here. My wife's making biscuits and gravy. Oh, you thought we were gonna finish this with no more food talk, bitch. Anyways, Stay Strong Co., the homie, the fucking gorgeous man himself in white pants, making the most delicious fucking nectar from the gods. The shit hot sauce. Go check him out. Stay Strong Co. on Instagram, staystrongco.com. He does fucking everything. I just seen him make like some dope ass rebar fucking welded tables. Old son
nice.
can do everything. He's not just a beast in the kitchen. He's also a beast in the garage. So go check out Stay Strong Co. on Instagram. Tell them the boys from the Low Life Chopper podcast sent you. Up next, we got Dan, the man from No Luck Paintworks, Manchester, New Hampshire, cooking up the dopest motherfucking paint schemes in the game. Remember I say Northeast? Nah, Old Son's the best in the game, all right? The kid will paint anything. It does not matter what the fuck it is. Your firstborn, your girl's titties, your car, your chopper, your fucking house, whatever it is. He'll put candy paint on it. Promise you that.
Dude, that'd be a sick
Dan...
house.
Dude, seriously. Dan will get you fucking hooked up. If you have a build you want to bring to the next fucking level, hit up Dan at No Luck Paintworks. If you want some garage signage that's super dope with some flames on it and this, Dan can make it happen. You want a fucking custom mailbox, son? You want a candy painted fucking mailbox with old school fucking spaghetti flames on it? Hit Dan up. Dan will paint you whatever your fucking heart desires as long as he feels like doing it, because he ain't doing that bitch shit. He ain't fucking with some shit that he don't want to do. All right? Give my boy the creative motherfucking freedom to cook you up the coolest motherfucking paint job you ever done, did, see. Bitch. Up next. This is why we need to record these and put them in the whole fucking thing so you can run them every week, because I'm on fire today, son.
You do such a good job reading them live. I don't even want to do it.
Up next, we got Lowbrow Customs, everything you need for the road ahead. Tyler and his team support literally everything Chopper. If you go to a fucking Chopper show and don't see a lowbrow fucking banner, those dudes are probably bitches. Tyler literally fucking supports everything. So a way you can return that favor is go shop at lowbrowcustoms.com. You can get fucking everything you need for your chopper there. I promise you. Those specialty tools we were just talking about, they got them at Lowbrow. Gas tanks, fenders, fucking whatever you want, you can get at lowbrowcustoms.com, and drop them a line on Instagram. Tell them your boys from the Low Life Chopper Podcast sent you. Next, we got Steel City Blacksmithing. Josh is always cooking up some crazy shit. Old son makes some crazy ass twisted invaders. He makes dope ass fucking pegs, handlebars, frames. Kid can fucking do everything. All right. Hit up Steel City Blacksmithing if you want to take your build to the next level and put that little kiss of fucking blacksmithing on there. Old son will get you looking right. Check them out. SteelCityBlacksmithing.com. Steel City Blacksmithing on Instagram. Up next, we got Deadbeat Customs, the creator of the motherfucking Deadbeat Retreat, where all lowlifes go to die. I've literally died there myself. I'm not fucking playing. Steve has been backing this goddamn show since the very beginning. Through the motherfucking cancellation, Steve was still there. Through COVID, Steve was still there. Through the fucking turmoil of buying a new house and building my own garage, Steve was still there. Through 2 fucking babies, pregnancies, for Steve himself, he was still there for the Low Life Chopper Podcast. So what we're here to tell you is you need to be there for Steve. Shop at deadbeatcustoms.com. He has a little bit of everything for everyone, whether you need chopper parts, bagger parts, dyna parts, luggage fucking gear. He has everything. Oh, you need a new helmet? He's got it. You need some fucking riding gear? He's got it. And the best part is, get real close because you want to hear this. Type in this code word to save some money. You ready? Type in Life at checkout, and you will save some motherfucking money at deadbeatcustoms.com. Next, we got Rhino Resto.
Oh, it's a hard act to follow. Inconveniently located in Henniker, New Hampshire, proud purveyor of vapor honer boners, except no substitutes, with a focus on vintage motorcycle and tool restorations, friendly service, even friendlier prices. Just DM me anywhere and get a free quote or a joke. Last but not least, Loctites. Oh man, I keep on saying Loctite every week. Loctites Chop Shop.
Chitlins. Lock Chitlins. Latte Shop, conveniently located in the heart of America, the center of the motherfucking universe, Epping, New Hampshire. Listen, you need some pinstripe done, hit your boy up. All right? Whether you want some fucking saws, see the saw over here? Bink. I didn't paint that one, but the guy who did taught me how to pinstripe, so I can also paint saws. You want some fan blades? You want some fucking garage signage? You want me to paint your tins? Not a problem, bruh. Hit me up. We'll make it happen. We'll put some fucking swag on that tag. Get what I'm saying? Picking up what I'm saying, Daddy-O? Hit up Loctite Shop on Instagram or go over to the brand new motherfucking lowlifechopperpodcast.com and just hit me in the email, motherfucker.
Oh, last
And
but not least.
Last but not least,
This
show.
lowlifechopperpodcast.com. Get some merch. This look at how big that is.
Shit,
this is the new dude. Fucking crispy as fuck, dude.
Looks so good.
First of all, I gotta say, go get some merch. Go get a mug. Get a bag of coffee from Bump Shop Diaries. Get a cheap ass shirt. Get a cheap ass hoodie. Get some cheap ass shit. Support us on Patreon. I have to? I'm doing it again. OxfordCo.Choppers. Look at this. $10 a month, giveaway sponsor. You don't want to miss out on this one. This one's fucking beautiful. Go to the YouTube channel, you piece of shit, and subscribe. We have thousands of views and like 200 subscribers. What are you doing? Just hit subscribe. You get all the fucking... Even if you don't watch it, just do us a favor and go fucking click a button. After all we've done for you? You can't click a button, you piece of shit? I might edit this out.
Fight you. No, you don't have to. You don't have to. Just go subscribe.
Oh,
and listen.
Last thing about the show, too. Cycle Source, they got the voting up. Vote for us. We're up for media personalities or some shit.
Something like that.
Yeah, go vote for Dan. Go vote for Josh. Steel City Blacksmithing, No Luck Paintworks, and Low Life Chopper Podcast. I don't know if we win something or get an award or get in the magazine or something.
Yeah, I don't think you get anything.
Just rep it. Just rep it.
We've been in that every single year, and I don't think you would get anything.
Yeah, just rep it.
And listen, like we say every week, God, my voice, you hear how my voice has changed now that I've been yelling?
A little raspy.
Like we say every week, there is 100 different ways for you to support the show. Whether you join the Patreon, or you buy some merch, or you subscribe to the YouTube channel, or you just share the post that gets put out every Friday. All those ways are ways to support the show. And 2 of them are free. You can literally subscribe to the YouTube channel for free. It costs you 0 monies. You can share our post, 0 monies. Doesn't cost you anything. And you can support this show running for 5 fucking years. It's a great way to show some support.
Give us a review on your favorite podcast platform so other people can discover how fucking awesome we are.
And just share. That's all I can say. Share. I would rather you share this podcast than join the Patreon.
Yeah, 100%.
All right? Because when you share it, it gets other people involved. It brings other people into this culture. And not like the chopper culture. I'm saying the low life culture. It brings in here, gives you, it doesn't only give us more networking, gives you more networking. The more people that join this fucking culture, the low life culture, it gives you a further network. And here's a beauty that I'll leave you with. Your net worth is your network. Okay? Keep that in your mind. Share this show and grow your net worth while you grow your network. Good night, people.